Hello and welcome back to another video about Kingdoms of Arda. Around 2 months ago I asked you guys if you have any questions about the mod, and then I would do my very best to try and answer every question. And boy oh boy, you had a lot of questions. So let's jump right into it. And let's start with the most common question of them all. When is the release date? It is really hard for us to actually answer that question, mainly because we are a medium-sized team, but we don't work every day on the mod. We only do it in our free time, and that free time sometimes changes, especially around exams and so forth. And at the same time, other events in life happens, and some people stop working on the mod, new people join. It's really difficult to actually answer. So instead, I'll say that we have made a ton of work. It may not seem like it because we're not showing you everything. We have made an insane amount of work so far. There's still a lot to do, of course, so don't expect a release date to be announced in the near future. And of course, don't expect that a public release will come anytime soon. I'm pretty sure that I can say it won't be this year. Could it be next year? Possibly. Possibly not. It's going to take some time, but I would say that in just 1 year we have made so much work, and it's really gone from a project with ideas and 3D models and so forth to actually a playable game, rather a playable mod. I can say that we have made a lot of work with the campaign map, so shout out to NPC99, really talented guy. Other than that, we are of course focusing on some of the major settlements in Middle-earth. We have already shown the gate of Minas Tirith. Looks truly amazing, of course. And the rest of the city is of course also being worked on. As you can guess, it's a huge settlement, so it's going to take a lot of time. We need to make 100 buildings or so. Of course, stuff we also can use for the rest of Gondor. We've also made a lot of work for the Black Gate. Looks really good so far. And also a ton of work for Minas Morgul. And we've also started some work on Edoras, Pelagia, Osgiliath, and some lesser known locations, of course. We had some work for Isengard, but sadly that work was lost. So it will have to be done again, but I don't think it's such a big problem, honestly. So all in all, I can't really promise any release date. All I can say is that so much work have been done so far. We're also experimenting with new stuff. A lot of you guys have been requesting co-op. It's something that we also want ourselves. And our very talented coder, Jansen, has actually been working on something that might make that possible. Of course, we can't make any promises, but at least we are testing stuff out. The next question is about the trailer. I actually made a short with the first gameplay not that long ago. Of course, that's just a short clip with a bit of fun. So don't take it too seriously, of course. I will say that for the trailer that I have seen the drafts, and it looks, I mean, phenomenal, truly amazing. So big shout out to Battles. Go and check out his channel. It will give you an idea about the quality of the trailer. And I can also say that yes, the trailer will show gameplay. And sadly, I can't really reveal what it will show, as that will be secret until it's out, of course. But we are at a point where the visual part of it is pretty much done. There's still, of course, a few bits here and there that needs editing, but overall that part is done. And our musician Emil is working on a track that will fit whatever is shown on screen. So that's where we are right now. I think we can expect it perhaps at the end of May or in June. I don't think it will be later than that, but I'm not going to make any more promises about the trailer. but you should look forward to it. What I've seen is just breathtaking, really. Far better than I had first expected. So it will be released on our official Kingdoms of Arda channel. So if you haven't subscribed to that, go over and do that. And at the same time, I will also do a breakdown of the trailer on my channel. And I will, of course, talk a bit about what we actually see, but also some of the mechanics that we plan to implement. And also some of the future stuff that we want to use that will improve what we actually see. I'm not going to reveal too much here, so you'll just have to wait and see. Will the blue wizards be a lord? Will some lords be stronger than other? If how much? In the video you talked about a milestone. How long is it left until you have get there? Oh, all right. Well, the milestone is actually around the trailer, so it has only to do with what we need it to do in order to make sure, of course, it's actually shown in the trailer. So that part is done. I think we reached that milestone in December. As for the blue wizards, no, they are not intended to be a lord in the normal campaign. Perhaps they will. I don't think so right now, of course. Of course, there are other mods where they play some sort of role and can't, and I think that could perhaps be a good way to do it, just to sort of balance the East a bit more. But that's not planned currently. Of course, it's been talked about a few times, so there's mixed feelings about that. I would say, though, that it's very possible that they will be in story mode and multiplayer, so you can actually have them both in multiplayer, where you play the normal sort of stuff with multiplayer and captain mode and so forth, but also story mode, which is our new game mode, which is co-op, or that's the plan at least. But instead of a campaign map, you just have scenarios you play through. Of course, we don't have anything planned specifically for the blue wizards, so they would just be characters you can actually unlock, and as you play a mission again, you could choose to play as one of them. And will some lords be stronger than others? Yes, of course. Of course, we're going to have Aragorn and so forth be stronger than some random lord in Gondor. Next question. Are there any plans to implement items such as horns or drums? And if so, could it play a mechanic in gameplay, such as morale for troops in the division they are in? Yes, we will have horns and drums. I'm actually not 100% sure about the drums, but horns have been planned for quite some time. I think we have talked about what sort of gameplay mechanic they would have, and I think that everyone agree that morale should be affected by it, but we haven't really made the code for that sort of thing yet. I can't really say much more about it. And the next question. I think that's a difficult question to actually answer. I will say that, of course, it takes a lot of time to work on assets, but the difference is that we actually have a lot of people doing that, and we don't have a lot of people working on scenes. It's mainly been me and Nordis, and of course the guys actually making 3D models are also working on major locations. In the future, more of the developers will of course help out with scene creation, but it's really something where we need a lot of help. So if anyone wants to make scenes for Bannerlord, feel free to contact me on Discord. I think it's pretty hard to say what takes most time. It really depends what we are talking about. I mean, obviously a scene where it's just a pretty flat terrain, it's much faster to do perhaps than making armor. And likewise, a concept for dunlining may be done fast, but it could also take a long time if people don't like the drafts that have been made. Let's jump ahead to the next question. Will the dwarves of Erebor have the best armor and weapons? No, the way it works is that take a look at our skill trees and you can see different tiers. So a tier 5 orc and a tier 5 Gondorian soldier would be sort of equal in strength and health. So that's pretty much how it works. But I will say that for the dwarves, they tend to have a lot of high tier troops. So in general, of course, they will be stronger than the low ranking orcs, of course. So in that regard, it will seem like they are far superior, of course. Will all the cities keeps on the map at first launch have interiors to walk around? Like, will you be able to attack the Golden Hall, the White Tower, and or tank after you take the city? Short answer is yes. And of course, it will also be other locations than just those mentioned. Of course, we don't always have something from the films to use. So take a place like Barad-dûr, we don't actually see a lot of the interior there. So we have to design that. And I would say that's probably one of the more challenging things to plan out. Of course, we are also going to have generic castle locations for Gondorian castles and Rohirrim castles and so forth. So yeah, you can expect to see that. How much progress have you made on the Minas Tirith scene? I've been wondering ever since you teased the Great Gate of Minas Tirith. I'm actually not sure how much I'm allowed to say about this. Of course, we have made the gate, and I'm pretty sure someone started to work on the statue with Isildur right behind the gate. I've seen a few bits of the scene around the gate, which look amazing, and pretty much a one-to-one correlation between the film and the mod. So yeah, both in scale and the shapes of the buildings. I mean, Owen, our very talented guy, have actually looked through the scenes and tried to make every building like we see it in the films. So it's going to be very accurate. I've also seen some of the other gates of Minas Tirith. Not entirely sure if they are done, but they look pretty done to me. And of course, we have something like the houses of healing that have been worked on, and the hall, and so forth. So overall, I would say a lot of progress, but pretty hard to say how much at this point. One thing that really takes a long time when it comes to scene making is actually nav meshing, and that takes a lot of time just for a normal scene, but for something like Minas Tirith, I would probably need a month or perhaps 2 months without any breaks, where just nav mesh pretty much all day long. And that's because there are so many streets, and of course there are barrels and crates and whatnot that we don't want to hinder the pathfinding of the AI. So overall, there's just it's going to be a nightmare to actually nav mesh something like Minas Tirith, but it will be done. But we're not at that point yet, so there's still a lot to do. Next question. I saw a video a while back with what your goal were for the initial release. In that video, the map was smaller, more compact, and focused on a specific area of Middle Earth. My question is, after the first release, is there plans or widening the map and scope of Middle Earth, or is it not possible to include the entirety of Tolkien's map in the mod? Gary, my friend, it sounds like you didn't watch the video about all the planned factions. In that video, I actually go through all the planned factions, and I think it should be obvious for anyone that have watched the video that we will, of course, have all of Middle-earth, and I would even say that it includes more than what you would usually find in a Tolkien map. That being said, of course, the campaign map already includes all the other areas of Middle-earth, so those areas are sort of done. Of course, there will come a bit of improvement on the campaign map, but it will mainly be assets and stuff, broken watchtowers and custom map icons and stuff like that. Will places like Minas Tirith and Erebor be split into multiple scenes for performance? Yes, they will. When it comes to visiting a location like Minas Tirith, you will of course be able to explore the scene fully without having to load several bits, perhaps with the exception of the hall. But other than that, you should be able to explore the entire scene. But when it comes to sieges, there will be different stages, and that has to do with performance for one. And the second thing is that the AI aren't the best, I would say, when it comes to sieges at least. So it's a bit to guide the AI and just make the gameplay a bit more smooth and interesting for longer than just the break through the first gate. I hope that answers that question. And the second one, will the mod include any pieces of armor and weapons from the base game? I can't think of something specifically that we will use, but we have talked about some of the battalion equipment perhaps being used for Dunland or other neutral factions like the Men of the Mountains and perhaps Enidwaith and stuff like that. But it will be minor stuff like furs and boots and stuff like that. I'm not sure we will use any of the weapons. One thing I can say though, that we will redo the stats. The next question is, will there be random encounters while traveling on the map? Yeah, there will be stuff like that. I don't think I can go into detail about anything specifically, as we haven't actually worked on that yet. But of course, there's going to be all sorts of things, including stuff like what you mentioned. And something else we have been working on is lore elements. So let's say that you visit a village and you explore the village, and in a corner of said village there's perhaps a statue. Then you can actually interact with it, and it will give you a bit of XP and perhaps a bit of description, like who are the Druidane, why are they making these statues. And in some cases that will actually give you an optional quest to talk with the village elder or so forth, and then they will give you a quest to explore some other place on the map and so forth. So overall, the idea with that is to have the players explore the scenes more. Of course, there's a lot of work going into making a scene, so of course we want people to actually visit a village, and I don't feel that a lot of people actually do that in the base game. So it's also a way to I would say improve that part of it, while also giving you XP and open up for quests and stuff like that. And of course you also learn more about the world. Will there be more varied quests on the campaign map compared to the really League Lost vanilla ones? Yes, is the short answer. Stuff where you just do it one location on the map, and then there are more generic quests that you can do for pretty much any faction you serve. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I can say about that. And that is all for me. This video got a bit longer than I had first expected, so keep that in mind. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and I also have a subreddit now. Thank you and farewell.